RS3, 4 years completed, but time just will not stop. In terms of quests released per year, this one sits at the top. 22 full years of questing, can't use a bank, must stay alive. RuneScape 3, Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2005. Welcome back to January 10th, 2005. Training some agility out here at the Wilderness Agility course. And there is 59 agility. That is a quest requirement, and the Elephant Overpass Easy Cliffside Shortcut. Shortcuts don't exist yet. So, there you go. But in the future, having shortcuts will be pretty nice. And this is a very easy thing to do. Do take some damage. So I brought some sharks. But overall, working out. 60 agility. Milestone. Achievement. And a lot of unlocks. That is 3 quest requirements. Werewolf agility course. Statues in the Bandos throne room. God Horse dungeon access. God Horse dungeon escape to the wilderness. Possibility of quadruple loot from guards with 70 thieving. Access to the Livid farm. Yay. And the Monastery of Ascension statue shortcut. None of these things exist yet. Cool. 61 agility. That is a quest requirement. And the rare crossing to Treenum Stronghold. And we will wrap things up here with 62 agility. That is Slayer Dungeon Crevice Shortcut. Amazing. Let's get to some updates now. On January 17th, 2005, there were some Castle Wars changes. Specifically with more shenanigan strategies needed to be fixed. High-level players would end up getting their team's flag, then just sitting at the starting area next to the bandage table, where they could constantly pick up more bandages to heal forever. So, that was not working. So, if you stay in, or if you have your flag in your base, it automatically teleports back to the top. So you can't just hold on to it, keep it safe that way. Another way people were holding onto the flag when they really shouldn't is by people sabotaging games of Castle Wars, getting on the other team, grabbing the flag, and then purposefully not scoring. So after 3 minutes, you can now steal your flag from somebody that's on your team, or steal the opponent's flag, in order to try to go actually score, instead of just staying there. Kinda does devolve into some really shenanigan strategies, like having the saboteur, also known as spy, grab the opponent's flag, hide in the corner, while the rest of the team protects them from their team coming to steal it back so they can actually go score. And all sorts of other hold on to your own flag and go stand in the corner. And sabotaging by putting down all the barricades, and it has been a whole situation, Castle Wars. And we might actually be able to go into Castle Wars if we put the money in our coin pouch and drop the cape and helmet. I think all the other stuff we have probably should count as combat. I mean, a rune hatchet's not a good weapon, but it's definitely a weapon. So maybe we could do some Castle Wars. Not that we want to. Also, on this day, the Brimhaven Dungeon was released. In order to get in there, we need to talk to Cenobach here. Good day to you, Buana. Can I go through that door, please? Most certainly. I must charge you the sum of 875 coins first. Why is there an entry cost? It leads to a huge, fearsome dungeon populated by giants and strange dogs. Adventurers come from all around to explore its depths. I know not what lies deeper in myself, for my skills in agility and woodcutting are inadequate. But I hear tell of even greater dangers deeper in. Very spooky. Also, while running over here, we got poisoned. Or an anti-poison from the shop. So, it's a situation. Where does this strange entrance lead? To a huge and fearsome dungeon? With giants and dogs. And other things. Probably. And it's definitely the other things that are the most interesting here. I'm interested that a tree is growing on that shed. My employer tells me is uncommon sort of tree called the fiberglass tree. So let us pay our entry fee. 875 coins. Many thanks. You may now pass the door. May your death be a glorious one. Let's try to not die in the Brimhaven dungeon here. Which got a massive fancy makeover later on. Looking very stylish. Anyways, like he said, there is agility and woodcutting requirements to head into the dungeon here. We got vines, agility shortcuts all over the place, and a variety of enemies. The first, and what would have originally been the most annoying, wild dogs. Originally, they were level 63, the perfect level to be permanently aggressive to even maxed combat people with 126 combat, since you needed level ×2 +1 in order to have things stop being aggressive. Now they're only level 35, so they're only of concern to people level 70 and below, which does make this dungeon much less annoying. They are all over the place, just interrupting you whenever you're trying to do anything. Like fighting all the other monsters in here. We got moss giants. We got fire giants upstairs. Also upstairs are greater demons. And all the other things in here are aggressive. We need to be slightly careful here. Yeah, moss giants in the main part here. Let's run past them. Keep getting more achievements for hanging out in the dungeon here. Once achievement diaries exist, we're going to have to go over all the things that we already did. Yeah. Upstairs here, we've got greater demons and fire giants. And still all the wild dogs, which are not aggressive on us, at least at this point. And this is the part where we get further into the dungeon. More fire giants here. More ways to go across here. Got another vines and agility shortcuts. Over to red dragons and baby red dragons. And even still more wild dogs. Dogs and dragons living in harmony, I guess. Wild stuff. But the real danger is even further inside. Let us continue on chopping and chopping. Ignoring this mysterious staircase, doesn't exist yet. And getting into, or how about we just look at the final rooms here. It's a little bit dangerous in here. We've got black demons over in this room. And then we get to the new stuff. Technically the wild dogs are new stuff, but they don't drop anything, so. The real draw of the Brimhaven dungeon. Bronze, iron, and steel dragons. Very, very strong. Even if their combat level now doesn't quite tell the story. They're dragons, so if you want to fight them, you probably should be bringing an anti-dragon shield, which is a little bit of a problem for us, because that limits us to one-handed weapons, which is realistically the dragon mace. Range and magic really do not have any one-handed options in current things that exist, plus evolution of combat. Staffs used to be one-handed, so technically we would have been able to get away with that. But now they are two-handed, so we cannot use a shield and a staff. Which is a problem, because metal dragons are weak to magic. So, if we want to fight metal dragons, we would be not having a good time. Not having a good time at all. And fighting metal dragons could be a fun plan, because we could get dragon plate legs. Really continuing the dragon armor set here. We had chain bodies, medium helmets, square shields, variety of weapons, and now plate legs. Really ties the whole thing together. Very, very rare from bronze dragons, very rare from iron dragons, and rare from steel dragons. So, you get more out of it for fighting the stronger ones, but they're also stronger, so would take longer to fight. Hopefully, we don't need to deal with that. And if I've looked at things correctly, we really shouldn't. But we might be returning to this dungeon, depending on what reasons we might have. But first, more updates. On January 23rd, 2005, 5 new worlds in Seattle. Also, there had been some server issues the previous few days with the Dallas servers, and also the AboveNet servers had a power cut. So, getting more and more servers in more and more places, very good for redundancy. There's also 11 more world servers on order, so more redundancy, more spots, very good. Speaking of servers, on January 26th, 2005, the United Layer, Pier 1, AboveNet, and End Layer servers, worlds, were renamed to location-based, like all the other ones were. All of these were just with different internet service providers in California. So, those are all California worlds. Possibly cities. There's going to be more city specifics in California later. But not important. Not important. What is a little bit more important is some new robes available in the Magic Guild here. Trey, the robe store owner here, he sells Mystic. Hat, robe, top, robe bottoms, gloves, and boots. None of these things yet. Just Mystic. And way cheaper than it originally was. That's also a plus. Some shop prices are cheaper, some are more expensive. We do what we can here. An interesting set, Mystic. For 2005, by far the best magic robes in the game. Very good stuff. Requiring 40 magic and 20 defense. Things changed with the evolution of combat. Mystic robes became level 30 defense and no magic requirement, which was interesting because they were now worse than a new set of robes, which were much easier to get. So eventually, those were switched again, and now Mystic is level 50. So, pretty much equivalent to Rune, except for Magic. A pretty good set of equipment for if you want to do some magic, obviously. And we might want to do some magic for fighting a whole bunch of stuff. Probably not, though. I'm just going to keep doing ranged right now. But if we want to go fight some stuff, oh boy, is there some stuff to fight. In the brand new Slayer skill. 5 Slayer Masters telling you what to do. 2 new dungeons. The Fremnik Slayer Dungeon and the Slayer Tower. Each with 8 new monsters. With neat new drops and new challenges to face. The Slayer skill. It's pretty cool. So let's just quickly go over what we're about to get into. Cave crawlers crawling all around on the cave floor. Rock slugs slink around protected by rock armor. Cockatrices don't underestimate those bird things. Fire fiends are demonic fire beings. Basilisks will stare you down, they got a pretty mean glare. Jellies will suck you in and dissolve you up in there. Turos, their whole family, count their legs, they got 3. And caressed at the end of the cave, they are very beefy. Crawling hands crawling around with their gloves and rings. Banshees will blow your eardrums with their very loud screams. Infernal mages are mages of great power. Bloodhounds with their freaky tongues, your face they will devour. Avarice specters are very smelly ghosts. Gargoyles are more rocky than most. And creoles all have little friends. And abyssal demons is where this list ends. Curiel, Moschanov, Annika, Chaeldar, Duradel. We must ask, what's our first Slayer task? What's our first Slayer task? Indeed. And that is a complicated question. Typically, you would go and get your first Slayer task from Turiel in Berthorpe. Get a rundown of what Slayer is. But things have changed significantly since 2005 here. The Slayer Masters all required different requirements to get tasks from them. Turiel required level 3 combat, so anybody could show up. Moschana over in Canfis required combat 20. Vanaka down in the Edgeville dungeon required 40 combat. Chaeldar in Xanaris required 70 combat. And Duradel in Shiloh Village required 100 combat and also 50 Slayer. So, immediately, we cannot even go to Duradel yet, since we have neither of those requirements. So, that one's off the list. Chaeldar is in Xanaris, which would require us to get a Draman Staff, and therefore drop all of our combat gear. So, a little bit inconvenient. Although currently we're not too bad off doing that. We would still lose the Rune Hatchet, which we're still holding on in case we want to make a bunch more money and have a reason to. So that's not ideal either. Also, the combat levels were changed significantly. Especially when Evolution of Combat came out, and combat level changed entirely to go up to 200. But eventually when that was dropped back down to normal amounts, most of the masters went back to their same level requirements. Except, for whatever reason, Cheladar went to 75 combat. Again, not a huge deal for us. We've already passed both of those thresholds. Just a weird little change in 2014. And then later, in 2021, to streamline lower level Slayer, some more things were changed around. Masrna and Vanica basically switched places. So now, Masrna requires 50 combat, and Vanica requires 30. And also, Vanica is now outside of the Edgeville dungeon, just chilling in the ruins there. Makes it slightly quicker to get there, I suppose. Not a huge deal. So, since their levels switched, they also mostly switched tasks, or at least difficulty and numbers. Of course, the difficulty of enemies also massively changed in 2023 with the XP nerf and monster buff update. Well, the first thing we need to worry about here is Turiel. With the same Slayer revamp business, he was changed to have a much smaller list of enemies, all concentrated in the Taverley Berthorpe tutorial area that existed. And I guess does still exist these days. Eh. But also added a path system at one point or another. If we talk to Turiel here, we can grab ourselves the first Slayer task. It's a little bit different. Take this Slayer collection log. It'll allow you to keep track of all your rare drops from Slayer monsters. And that is a great segue into the last bit of information for Slayer here. The drops. Eventually, like this entire collection log would explain, there's a lot of interesting drops you can get from Slayer. As it currently stands, a bit less so. The main rewards for getting your Slayer up and fighting these new fancy monsters were the drops. Specifically, new metal boots from bronze to rune from various monsters. Rune boots being the new best melee boots in the game. So, very nice to have. All of the metal boots were removed from drop tables in 2019 with the mining and smithing rework, because now they are just smithable. So, don't get any of those. The next interesting drops were Light and Dark Mystic. Functionally identical to the Mystic you can just buy from the Wizard Guild. They just look different, which is nice. Up towards the higher end, you can get the Granite Maul, a new special attack weapon, which is level 50, so not great for us, comparatively. At least as a main hand weapon. And lastly, the Abyssal Whip, which may or may not actually be possible to get in the game right now. In a few weeks, it absolutely is possible, but you have to wait for people to train their Slayer up to such a high level first. So, not really worrying exactly when that comes out. Now it's a level 70 main hand weapon. So, some value, I guess? Maybe? We'd have to see in what circumstances an Abyssal Whip would be better than a Dragon Halberd. But we're not anywhere close to that, so we don't actually need to worry about it. So, overall, not too much in Slayer just yet. But it is a fun reason to go fight new monsters. do a bunch of different things. And also we do need Slayer levels for quests and stuff, so I figure might as well try to do a bit of combat training here. So we will get a task from Turiel. Hello, what are you after then? Who are you? I'm a Slayer Master. I train adventurers to learn the weaknesses of seemingly invulnerable monsters. To learn how, you need to kill specific monsters, identify suitable targets, and assign you a quota. What's first? You'll need to equip a magic weapon. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't have a magic weapon. I'm not going to get a magic weapon just for you. Yeah, maybe I will. Why does he want me to have a magic weapon? That's part of the path system, I suppose. We just get a task. You equip a magic weapon. What a wildly unnecessary step this is. Maybe we can try us getting a task from someone else. Let's go bother Vanica. Would have had to run down into the Edgeville dungeon. Get past the skeletons and just near the zombies. But now he's up here. Let's talk to him. Oh, what are you after then? Who are you? I'm one of the elite Slayer Masters. What's a Slayer? Oh dear, what do they teach you in school? Well, I suppose I'll have to educate you then. A Slayer is someone who is trained to fight specific creatures. They know that creatures' every weakness and strength. As you can guess, it makes killing them a lot easier. Wow, can you teach me? Well, I'm not so sure. Please? Oh, okay then. You twisted my arm. You have to train against specific groups of creatures. Okay then. What's first? We're currently under a event where you get to choose your Slayer assignment between a list of 2. That is not a thing that you could originally get. So we're going to go with default, which is 44 Ice Fiends. Starting off hunting Ice Fiends, you'll need to kill 44 of them. You also need this enchanted gem, allows Slayer Masters like myself to contact you and update you on your progress. Don't worry if you lose it, you can buy another from any Slayer Master. Okay, great. Good luck. Don't forget to come back when you need a new assignment. Except, it is not actually great. He gave us Ice Fiends, which do not exist. Originally, you would be stuck with whatever you get for your Slayer task. And only in a few updates here would you be able to go and skip a task you don't want. But we also shouldn't be getting tasks that don't exist. So we're going to take the tiniest amount of liberty here and go cancel this task over with Turiel. I got my Staff of Fire here, potentially for what he wants us to do, and also potentially for alking things later. But I guess we'll find out. Okay, Turiel. Let's not be weird about this. Get task. You're still hunting Ice Fiends, although it's a tougher assignment than I'd normally give. I guess I could give you a new assignment, if you'd like. If you do get a new one, you'll lose your current Slayer target and reset your kill streak. Is that okay? Yeah, mostly because kill streaks don't exist yet. Not worried about that at all. Yes, please. And we get the new default, 11 birds. Excellent, you're doing great. Your new task is to kill 11 birds. Okay, great. Looks like we managed to get away from the default weirdness with the first task. We saw it in the second option there. Gelatinous abominations. It's still on his list, so if we keep on needing to reset things, we're probably going to get those, even though they don't exist. But we can't exactly lock ourselves out of the Slayer skill until 2012, so we'll do what we must. But we got a Birds Slayer task. Interestingly, that allows for many options. We're going to be super simple about it, though. and just go kill some chickens. Teleport over to Lumbridge. So why not? There are now chickens in Berthorpe. And same story with all the other tasks he's going to give us. But not yet. Not yet. So instead, let's come over here. Smack a couple chickens with our Dragon Mace. And there is our first Slayer level. Level 2. No unlocks. Brilliant. Smack a few more chickens. And we can check to see how many kills we have left with the gem here. Originally required a whole dialogue and all that, but that's okay. 3 Slayer. Still a no unlocks. First skills. First levels. Very quick. You completed your task. Return to a Slayer Master. That is, in fact, the plan. Let's go see if we can get something that actually exists from Vanica. We might be better off going to Mazchina, because the list of things that don't exist isn't quite as many. Let's see if we can get at least something here from Vanica. Get a task. Another assignment. You're actually very strong. Are you sure you don't want Childar and Xanaris to assign you a task? I would consider it, but I'd have to go to Xanaris. No, that's okay. Please don't ask me again. I've made my own choices here. And our first actual Slayer task. I guess chickens counted as the first one. First task is Ice Giants. Doing great. Your next task is kill 45 Ice Giants. Very good. We can work with that. Now we have to decide where we want to fight the Ice Giants. There are a few different locations we could go to. I will get over to one. Decided to go with on top of White Wolf Mountain here to avoid having Ice Warriors constantly attack. Ice Giants here. We got 72% accuracy with our magic shortbow here. Apparently 59% accuracy with the special attack. Way wild. That is at least okay here. And there is immediately a Slayer level. Wild. We also have an actual drop tail to worry about here, so that's also fun. 4 Slayer. Still no unlocks. Gonna be doing a bit of safe spotting here, if we can. Except they're running all around the place. I want to try some other locations here too. And stop clicking on the dungeon entrance. That's not helping. Grab our bones and coins and stuff. Try to pick up our arrows. That'll be helpful. Not charms and stuff though. We'll get some things here. So this is not going to be quite as good range training because of the accuracy penalty. But we will get drops and stuff. I think each individual rune arrow is worth picking up. See if we can find safe spots over here. Like just across the fire. Might be moving around the area, essentially. 5 Slayer, though. That is Crawling Hands, which do exist. So that it gets added to the potential list of Slayer tasks from specific Slayer Masters. Grab the rune arrows. We could take some of the salvage, I guess. Not too worried about it. 6 Slayer. Nothing. Alright. What can we do here? If we grab these guys here, we range them across. Not quite. If we stand back here, we can hit him from this angle. That's at least okay. Trying to range our enemies. Stay out of melee distance. A pretty reasonable plan. Probably if we brought magic, we get better accuracy. That's okay. Then he walks up. We're gonna have some loot. More prayer XP. Always a good time. Will be helpful in the future. This is basically how Slayer goes. There's another level. Level 7 Slayer. Check this out. That is cave bugs. Those don't exist yet. And depending on where the spawns are, might have some better spots we can stand. Looks like we might be killing the 2 spawns here a bit quickly. So, might want to keep moving between locations here. Ooh, we're gonna walk right into spot? Not quite. We move over slightly. We can probably get away with that. But yeah, this will all work out. And there's 8 Slayer. Brilliant stuff. And we walk back over here, we can pick up that. Area loot. Just about as good as walking over. Nothing level 8. And this spawns again. Yeah, just dealing with all the drops we get. We can do okay with 2 spawns here. We just need to take another step over here to lure the other giant where we want him to be. Like that. Here. Perfect. Okay. We're going to keep on getting levels here fairly quickly at the start. Slayer experience is proportional to health. So the more damage we do, the more Slayer XP we get, essentially. 9 Slayer. Nothing. Bury more bones. Shoot more of these guys. Also getting some Constitution and range XP, of course. Well, that all works out. Yep. Maybe we go and check out the new monsters that we get access to. Could be exciting. See, that time we clicked on the dungeon. That's not what we wanted to do. It's got a bit of a click box here. That's okay. Also moves us, switches our camera angle there. I don't appreciate. There we go. Yeah, 72% accuracy. Could definitely be better. Could definitely be better. Missing, not great. There is 10 Slayer. Which is also nice. Energy walk over here. Nope, nope, click on attention. Take a step back. Maybe we can't even stand there. Anyways. 10 Slayer. There's some loot here. 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 No, can't walk there. Okay, it's fine. 10 Slayer. That is 2 quest requirements, the face mask, and cave crawlers. Cave crawlers exist. We go fight them. Not the best task, cave crawlers, which we will see. I guess even with slightly less accuracy, magic shortbow spec's still worth using. Fires 2 shots and all that. Also doesn't seem to use arrows, which I also will enjoy. Less arrows we fire, the less arrows we can lose, which is good for us. Good for us. Let's open up the interface here. Now with that side. We go. Oh yeah. Prayer XP, range XP, Slayer XP, Constitution XP. You'll love to see it. We're making a little bit of money here. 11 Slayer. Nothing. Walk. Walk back. Yeah, eventually we will get to a level where we're not constantly getting levels here. But the low levels are definitely low. And with this kill, we will overtake the rune crafting level that we got we are going to need to do a lot of rune crafting just later. How much is this tiny or medium bladed iron salvage a replacement for the iron two-handed sword? How much is that out for? 195? Eh. Nature runes are a bit expensive, so not too worried about that. There's 12 Slayer. Got stuff. Look over here. 12 Slayer's nothing. There is lots of Slayer unlocks at the higher levels. At least for the start here. Not a huge number of things. Not that adding a new level 12 Slayer monster would really be very good use of anyone's time. It wouldn't drop anything noteworthy. And it's so quick that you get to Slayer Masters that wouldn't even assign that anyways. Well, maybe not as fast now with the combat nerf, but yeah. It's something. Yeah, it's something. Grab the loot, walk over, bury the bone. Oh yeah. So, Slayer has frequently been a pretty slow skill to train, because it's just proportional to damage. So, slower than Constitution even, most of the time. Depending on the various experience calculations and stuff. But, that's okay. Another ice giant here. We're getting through it. We're getting through it. Keep on shooting away. 4 XP to the level. Definitely more chunks of experience after time investment kind of skill. Instead of getting constant XP drops for doing things, it's very much at the end is where it all comes in. 13 Slayer. Still nothing. We could just wait until the actual unlocks. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. Keep picking up our arrows here. Those are important. That is another question here of how far the rune arrows will get us. Because, yeah. If we want to go get more rune arrows, that is a bit of a hassle. Going back to the ranging guild. Although, if we get a high enough Slayer level, that problem will actually be solved. Although it is a pretty high Slayer level. And by the time we get there, we might not even need the arrows anyways. Either way, this is fine. There's a black kite shield. That's nice. Had one of those for a while before we could make a mithril one ourselves. Very fun. Almost getting towards the level where we could start making some adamant stuff. It's more like level 70 though, so that looks fair enough. We'll grab that. Maybe go pick up some nature runes. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. 14 Slayer. Still nothing. There's a stone spirit. Those don't exist and are terrible. Not something we'd be interested in. It's gonna be an interesting thing in the future. What drops and stuff we hold on to for any length of time. Inventory space is at a premium. But eventually there will be more storage options, and those will help. Some very interesting ideas I have for the future. But that is definitely going to be in the future, for sure. And with some of them very, very high requirements to make good use of. We will see when we get there. For right now, I'm just going to keep on shooting ice giants. At least until the task is done. We're definitely making progress here. Check our Slayer drum. Start with 45. Then we have 19. So, we're making progress. We're making progress. 100 XP is each ice giant here anyways. Probably just check that on the wiki anyways. some. Could be more. Could be more. Walk away from this one. We got some adamant arrows. Those are technically something. Those exist, I guess. That's fine. Not as good as the rune arrows, obviously. Well, that's okay. And there's 15 Slayer. And that is earmuffs and banshees. A lot at the same time there. Those are what you need for those. Banshees are an interesting one. Could have some potential uses there. To train on some banshees. We get into the point where we can do a few kills between levels yet here. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild at the start. We're also starting with slightly higher levels than you might sometimes start Slayer. Being all level 92 here with 60 plus combat stats and everything. Although our weapon is technically level 50, I guess. So, it's okay. It's okay. Oh yeah. Might do a few Slayer tasks here. That'll be good. 16 Slayer. No unlocks. 17 Slayer. Those are cave slimes. Those are not in a cave that exists. Yet. 18 Slayer. Almost done with the task here. That is a quest requirement. Check our gem again here. Only 4 to go. And there it is. We've completed a Slayer task. Technically, we already completed one with the chickens, but first, bigger Slayer task. And here, it's talking about complete 4 more Slayer tasks to start earning Slayer points. But Slayer points do not exist, so we're not too worried about that. And now, since we are done with the Slayer task, we can't just keep on fighting ice giants here. So we are going to need to go and get a new one. I'm going to keep trying Vanica. See what else we can get. Alright, Vanica. Let's get a task that exists. Another assignment. Frogs. No, not a thing. But I suppose we can give Vanica a pass here and actually take one that does exist. Realistically, we would not get the frogs task. So the next one it tried to get was zombies. 55 zombies. We'll just say the event is messing with his brain here. We're gonna go kill some zombies. Right over where he would have originally been. Down here in the Edgeville dungeon. I wonder if we're going to use range for this. We'll see how strong the zombies are. Might be better off just dragon mace whacking. Not losing all our arrows all over the place. They're level 22. What can we do with the dragon mace? Oh, they only have 80 health. Yeah, we're not going to waste any arrows for this. They would just get spread all over the place. It wouldn't be great. Unfortunately, with such a low-level task like this, we are not going to get any Slayer XP or Slayer points or anything, basically. I mean, we're not going to get Slayer points because they don't exist, but the Slayer XP or experience at all. Technically, we could go and look for stronger zombies. Possibly. Also just gets the task over quicker here. Which really is not a positive at all until task streaks and Slayer points and stuff exist. 19 Slayer. Nothing. I guess quick Slayer tasks that you don't want to do, but also don't want to go skip, I guess you'd be fine with having them be fast, but for the most part, you kind of want good tasks where you can just go do the task for a while and not worry about it too much. This is a little bit too weak here. We could maybe go see what Mastodon might want to give us. We also do need to slightly worry about stronger things and some tasks that we could receive. Some of them could get a little bit spicy. Luckily, we cannot yet get to the actual higher level Slayer Masters, which would actually give us some much more dangerous things. Well, that's okay. In other news, that was 1,300 total level there, if you include the skills that don't exist, which we kind of have to. Are slowly getting through more skills exist in here, so that's something. Yeah, just bopping these zombies one on over and over. We could change our melee combat allotment here, since our strength is so much higher from quest rewards. Try to get that back evened out, maybe. Could be an idea. Currently, attack and defense are behind. If we switch that slightly, maybe a good plan. Let's see where that's at here. Got all these option menus. It's in settings and combat and XP. Turn off strength for now. That'll be good. How many more zombies we got? 15. There is enough here that they're mostly dealing with in here. We'll see how much melee XP we get here from any of this Slayer. Kinda am still trying to train ranged specifically. But in this instance, range would be a little excessive. We could go and get like a pile of bronze arrows for weaker enemies. But that might be too weak in some instances. Dragon Mace has it under control. Really, really does. Bop. Bop. Yeah, not a ton of experience for this. Another reason to potentially go to Mazchina for what we could consider better tasks. Task complete. Now, right here, with the note from Vanica, we can read it. To whom it may concern, Vanica, Slayer Master and Mighty Swordsman, has moved to the ruins outside Edgeville Dungeon due to an increasingly challenging rental market. So that is the lore reason why he is no longer standing right here. Not a great spot to stand, just in the dungeon, next to a sewer pipe surrounded by zombies. But wherever you want to be a Slayer Master, I suppose. We'll get another task here. See if we get something a little bit more meaty. Quantity-wise, that was still quite a few, but enemy-wise, very much no. Didn't even look at what drops they dropped. Wasn't important. Didn't pick anything up. Another task. Moss Giants. Now that's not bad. I will take Moss Giants. Fantastic. Also just sold all the stuff we got from Ice Giants and all that to the general store. With how cheap things are, really just not worth going and getting nature runes or anything. But Moss Giants. I guess that could just solve the problem entirely. Well, let's go over there. Just gonna go to the ones right near the fishing guild. That's a good spot. 20 Slayer. Also immediately got nature runes here. First kill. Hilarious. We could probably try to save spot more of these. It's okay. We're right next to the fishing guild. We can get more food. 20 Slayer is rock slugs, which do exist. So that's neat. I'm gonna go and try all the Slayer monsters we've unlocked at some point here. Might just give them as tasks though, so not in any rush or anything. Back to better XP here. And 87% accuracy, which is even better. 21 Slayer. Nothing. 22 Slayer. Desert lizards. Don't exist yet. We are getting a few drops here at the Moss Giants. 23 Slayer. Nothing. 24 Slayer. Nothing. Task complete. Some more things we could sell to stores, alch and stuff. I think we'll go pick up the fire staff again. Kind of got rid of that a bit prematurely here. That's okay. 4 sharks enough? Yeah, probably. More space for loot. Next task, we get spiders. That is something. We do have a few options with spiders. Depends how we want to go about doing this. I think the deadly red spiders have been buffed way too much. We can't really fight those. So I think we just go for some small spiders, which I think we're just going to poke with the mace here. Look over in Lumbridge, giant spiders, something like that. 25 Slayer. That is a quest requirement. The Mirror Shield and Cockatrice. Also came over here to the Varrock sewers because there's more spiders here. Just going melee because you have to kill the tiny level 1 spiders here. And then there is giant spiders. Although there's 2 types of giant spiders here. We got level 2 and level 33. So getting a little bit of melee XP. That's okay. Task completed. This would be a great time for agility shortcuts to exist. There's the pipe over between Varrock sewers and Edgeville dungeon. And then Vanaka would be right there. But we don't get that. So we have to go around. Another task. Assignments. Skeletons. Okay. That's convenient. That is right down below here. But it's going to be Dragon Mace for this one. That's okay. 26 Slayer. No unlocks. Well, there's our first Slayer point. Those do not exist yet. So, unlike some of the other points and things and stuff, we can actually get rid of these once we actually can get them and reset that to 0. So that'll be fine. We're just not going to use any of the Slayer point benefits. Just keep getting tasks. Hobgoblins. Pretty good. Not very safe spottable for the range, but doable. Doable. Very good. 27 Slayer. Down here in the Witch Haven dungeon? Not really a Witch Haven yet. Anyways, no unlocks. 28 Slayer. Nothing. And 1 kill later. That is the end of the task. Still doing fine on rune arrows here, so should be good. Didn't really pick up much of anything here besides some runes and a single salvage. That's okay. Might want to go get some more fire runes. This is what I would have said if I didn't have a fire staff, but I have a fire staff, so not actually a problem. Look at this guy. Dangerous Hobgoblin of Fear. That is a elite Slayer monster. They don't exist yet either. and they're not too interesting. Next. Frogs, which don't exist, and cockroaches, which don't exist. Okay. I guess we're going back to Turiel then. Alright. Very good. Replace my task here. You're still hitting frogs. Break the task streak, so we go back to not getting any Slayer points which don't exist. That's fine. Crawling hands. Okay. Well, that is definitely something. Let's go fight our first Slayer monster. Entering the Slayer Tower. Technically not the first time, since intro-outro business. But here we are. Here are the Crawling Hands. Maybe a dragon mace kind of situation here. They've got a drop table with some stuff. And they got some health. Can maybe go range here. And there is a task. Kill anything on the ground floor of the Slayer Tower. Yep. They drop coins, gloves, and rings. They are, in fact, very large hands. So, can't be too surprised by that. The spawns are pretty fast. We just bop them down. The gloves and rings are all fairly uncommon, except for the leather gloves here. So we will see if we get any actual drops here. It's not exactly a long task here. Like, we're already halfway done. And there's some gloves. We get gloves from Canifis and a sapphire ring. Fancy. All sorts of fun stuff. I don't really need the leather gloves, honestly. Just keep those on the ground here. They seem to have reasonably high alch prices there. Is that? Yeah, just about. These are the fancy gloves. You can also get in Canvas. We can just alch them. Got a decent number of nature runes here from our various drops. So that'll work. As we level up more here, we will be journeying higher in the Slayer Tower. And also deeper into the permanent Slayer dungeon. But for right now, let's just alch some sapphire rings. Could turn these into rings of recoil, which aren't super helpful most of the time. I'll just alch the gloves too. Once we get over, since we're in the area, might as well go get a task from Monstrina. See if it feels slightly better. There are a few not so great tasks that we were getting from Vanica, so see if this is more our speed here. It is quite the run from Varrock every time, so we'll see if it's worth the effort. Get task. Another Simon, please. Ogres. Okay. Interesting. Got an idea where we could fight these. 29 Slayer. Nothing. We're over here in the combat training camp near Ardoin. Typically, you would range the ogres from outside the fence. And we keep getting messages here. The ogres are for ranged combat only. But we are using ranged combat. We're just inside the fence. Don't know if it's really supposed to let us do this. But that's what we're doing, so that's alright. Let's just pick up the rune arrows better. Was considering these guys for potential training spots for the future. But they're also kinda low health. So, maybe not. Maybe not. 30 Slayer. Milestone achievement. All that. That is a quest requirement. Pyre Fiends. And Slayer Trophy Zombie. That does not come out for a very long time. Pyre Fiends do exist, though. So, that's another potential task. And we just barely got that level, because one more kill and the task is done here. Wild. I suppose we can go and get another task from Mastrina. Might as well. Might as well. It really is a trek coming all the way over here. Mastrina, give us something nice. We get Enku, which don't exist. So we will forgive his momentary lack of judgment and take Moss Giants, because that is an actual task that exists. I can go for some more Moss Giants. That is very good. Once this whole event thing is over, might have to skip more tasks. But we can avoid it messing itself up. Works for me. 69 ranged. We are, in fact, also training combat here. That is nothing. 31 Slayer. That is a quest requirement. Nice to get all these out of the way. 32 Slayer. That is fishing explosives for Mogres, which don't exist yet. Mogres become very important very later. Slayer task completed. Really do enjoy the Moss Giants here. All the nature runes and stuff. Pretty good task. I'm just going to sell the rest of these things to a general store. I'll be fine. Let's go get another one. Next task. Shades. Okay. Interesting. Those are right here in Mauritania. And we could even go take the fancy shortcut tunnel down to Morton. Don't think we're going to bother burning the shades and getting the keys and going to the shade tombs or anything, but here we go. Here we go. 33 Slayer. That is the Harpy Bug Lantern for Harpy Bug Swarms. Glad those don't exist yet. Oh, that'd be nice to have. Ghost Hunter Goggles. Can't have that, though. Doesn't exist yet. Presumably by leaving it on the ground, we'll be able to just get it later. There is 34 Slayer. No unlocks. We are helping here slightly at the temple, while also safe spotting the shades behind additional piles of shades. So that's definitely something. How many kills left? A few. Task complete. Now we can go take the shortcut back up to Canifis. Perfect location. Next task is Cockatrice. Okay, interesting. That is the task. We will take it. Cockatrice. But this requires something else. We need to trade here into the big ol' Slayer store, which has a whole bunch of different interesting things here, some of which even exist. To fight Cockatrice, we need a mirror shield, or we will just die. So, one mirror shield for 5,000 coins. A bit expensive. How much can we alch this for once we're done with it? 3,000? Acceptable. But since we need a shield, we also need a one-handed weapon, and that is the Dragon Mace. So, we might go get a bunch more food, because we might end up needing to take off all the range armor, depending on how our accuracy is looking here. Not ideal, but there are really no other options here. Technically, we could also go buy, like, full rune or something, but that would just be more inventory space, so we will see. We will see how this goes. Okay. First time heading into the Femnic Slayer dungeon here. Crawling on in. And then the tunnel goes around some way, because we enter it going east and come out going west. That's alright. Skipping past the first few guys here. We got cave crawlers, which are a bit stronger than they originally were. These are like one of the lowest level things in their Combat 53. And we got rock slugs. Rock slugs are a lower level. Wild stuff. And then cockatrice, which are an even lower level. Sure. But much more dangerous without the mirror shield. Let us attack. 100% accuracy. Fantastic. They have a specific weakness to crush now, so the Dragon Mace is the perfect tool here. No negative whatsoever for wielding this ranged armor. So, that's nice. They do a bit of damage, so definitely bringing all this food was a reasonable plan. Cockatrice's claim to fame as a monster here. Yeah, a few interesting drops. Mostly the limport roots and medium clues. We're not really in a position to really do clue scrolls. And they give not the right stuff anyways, so we're just going to be popping the cockatrice here. And if we get incredibly lucky, we can maybe grab ourselves some Mystic Boots Light. Not that I think we would keep them, since they'd just be taking up in inventory space, but maybe someday, when we can actually store Mystic, we can go back around and grab just a nice full set of all the fancy colors. But that also requires a much, much higher Slayer level, so for right now, I'm just going to grab some runes and coins for the most part here. Decent amount of health, full accuracy, a reasonable training location. Very good. 35 Slayer. That is a quest requirement, the Witchwood Icon, Wall Beasts, and a new Slayer Master, which we could go to. We have all the requirements, except it doesn't exist yet, so that'll be a very important unlock once we get there. 75 attack and defense. Very cool. Well, lots of stuff here. Starting with attack, that is 2 quest requirements: the Ceradoman Sword, Zamorakian Spear, Armadillo God Sword, and then Bandos God Sword, Ceradoman God Sword, Zamorak God Sword, the Sun Spear, the Superior Kaizaj, Blood Tendrils, and the Abyssal Vine Whip. So, lots of stuff at level 75, most of which are also two-handed, so would be very good. Also, a little bit difficult to get, though, so we will see what our progression's going to be for higher level weapons here. None of which exist yet, so we're still with the Dragon Halberd. And then over in Defense Land, that's a quest requirement. Spirit Shields, even more difficult to get. Ganodermic, War Priest of Armadillo Bandos, Zamorak, Ceradoman, and Tuska, and Dinosaur Hide Armor. War Priest is reasonable, interesting stuff. None of these exist, though. But a lot more options unlocked. Task complete. Did use a significant amount of food here. Technically would have been better in melee gear, since they were using melee attacks in melee distance. So, technically more defense. As much as armor really is not super good currently. Anyways, back for another task. You would stand right next to the lodestone that I can't use. Next task. Shades again. Okay. That's decent. I can work with that. Back down through the shortcut we go. And we can use ranged. I'm not going to get rid of the mirror shield until we need to. Just so we don't lose money buying it over and over again. 36 Slayer. Nothing. Somebody set up a bunch of shade luring dummies here, which is pretty neat. 37 Slayer. That is 2 quest requirements and insulated boots for killer wants. Killer wants actually would have been amazing at the start. We're a little bit past that now, and they still don't even exist. Maybe we get there eventually. Task complete. Back through the shortcut. What's next? It is Cockatrice again. Okay. Shades Cockatrice. Shades Cockatrice. Moss Giants. Works for me. 38 Slayer. That is nothing. 39 Slayer. That is the Slayer Bell for Molinisks. Those are a really weird guy. Not gonna worry about that. Not gonna worry about that. Doesn't exist. And there is level 77 Constitution. Always sneaks up on you. Constitution. Just training it while training any combat. Oh, there you go. More healing from food, I guess. Task complete. We get 2 Slayer points. Still don't exist. That's okay. Another one. Maybe we get something different now. I'd be okay with that. Ogres. That's not different. That's the same thing again. Alright, it's fine. Back to ranging where it says I can only range, but I still range. Ogre Pen. Task complete. Big bones are nice. Prayer XP. Another one. Something different this time? Maybe? Would be nice. Ice Warriors. Good enough. 40 Slayer. That is a quest requirement, a mini quest requirement, Dragon Slayer gloves, basilisks, which do exist, Terror Dogs, and Slayer Lodge Tier 1. So, of that, basilisks. Having a hard time down here. The rocks we can't shoot over. So, just standing in melee distance, getting beat up. 70 ranged. Milestone. Achievement. And many unlocks. That is the Dark Bow, Crystal Weaponry, Carol's Crossbow, Blisterwood Stakes, Black Salamander, Corpse Thorn Shortbow, Corpse Thorn Longbow, Catagon Arrows, Stego Leather Equipment, Ceradomin's Murmur, Catagon Throwing Knives, Blisterwood Stake Thrower, Tainted Repriser, and Corruption Shot. None of these things exist yet. But one is coming soon. We will get there. So let's just finish this Slayer task. And then we'll be done. Well, task complete. That was quite a bit of Slayer for the first day it exists here. All the way to level 40. Not bad. In the future, we'll probably just show task completions or just levels, or at least whenever we get to a new task, new monster and all that. But for now, we've got to get back to questing. Next time. Goodbye.